Like they're kind of mean to us. Nobody's like, I got abducted by aliens and it was pretty chill. Like, hey everybody, your buddy Basil here, and you are listening to the Joyspiracy Theory. Thanks for tuning in today, everyone. We've got an excellent interview today. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. It's just also excellent. But today I got a chance to sit down and talk with Jamey. He is just a wonderful man of God. We talk about the music industry, family matters, chronic illness, all sorts of stuff. But of course, joy is the focus around here, and we definitely talk about that as well. This is an interesting fellow, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. I gotta say, may have found a new friend, guys. I may have made a new friend. Anyways, so that's going to be fantastic. Thanks for everyone who has been leaving iTunes reviews and Facebook likes and all that sort of stuff. I had somebody looking out for me, and they let me know that the Joyspiracy Theory, we made it to some top lists again, and that's because of you guys. That's because of you guys listening and reviewing and rating, and just telling those robots who's boss around here. Also, I want to give a huge thanks. After last week's episode, a bunch of you stepped up and joined the Patreon campaign that I've been putting together here. They got access to all the new bonus material that's coming out. We got another bonus piece of bonus material coming out after this episode as well. So if you haven't gone onto Patreon and signed up, just support your buddy Basil, support the project, support what God's doing around here. Please feel free to do that at patreon.com/thejoyspiracy theory. We've got Gonza's Baby Bonanza bonus post there, and another one. It's going to be great. And here's the thing too. If you join the Patreon, make sure to let me know if you got a pet who wants a shout out on the show, because I'm going to do that. You know me. I'm all into privacy, so I'm not necessarily going to shout out people's names unless they ask me to. But, well, maybe I will. Here we go. Thanks, David. Thanks, Samuel. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Benji. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Andrew. And thanks, Jamey. And also big shout out to Jamey's dog, Ozzy, for sponsoring this episode of the Joyspiracy Theory. Okay, guys, it's time to just jump into it. All right, hold on to your butts. Let's go.
Hello?
Hey, is this Jamey?
It is.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Basil, how you doing, man?
I'm doing real good. It is Jamey, right?
Yes, it is Jamey.
It's not
or Jaime. Jaime, if you want to, or Yame or Jaime.
Okay. I'll probably just interchange between all three during the conversation.
You can do that. Yeah. I like to sometimes reverse it and call myself Yimaj.
That's pretty cool. That's Jamey backwards. What would Basil be? Lizab.
I like it.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Joyspiracy Theory. My name's Lizab.
And I'm Yimaj.
I like this. It's good. I'm used to having a co-host, so it's perfect. So what are you grateful for today, buddy?
Besides waking up and having at least one more day to serve.
Besides that.
And not trying to toot your horn, man, I'm actually really grateful to just be talking tonight.
Oh, well, great.
Yeah.
That's
I've
awesome.
been.
What a great answer.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for what you and your buddy Gons do, and you guys. I look up to you guys and respect you guys a lot, and just to be able to chat with you tonight is a huge honor.
Well, I really appreciate that, man. I'm super happy to have you on the show. I've seen you around the Facebooks, and I think when I put the call out there to get people on the show, is that when I first heard from you, or had we talked before that?
No, I had sent. I think when I first found Canary Cry, I had sent you and Gons a message on Facebook, just because I could kind of tell that there were a lot of similarities. Unfortunately, we were not raised in the same area, but I feel like we would have been really close friends. And so I reached out to y'all because I knew you guys were musicians and fringe Christians. You believe all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, we're crazy people.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I've been crazy my entire life.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah. So I reached out to y'all a while back, and I wanted to contribute. I don't. We'll get into it maybe later. I don't really go to church, and I don't tithe or nothing like that. And like I really wanted to contribute some way, and what I feel is most important right now. I think the biggest thing, one of the most important things in the world, is what you and Gons are both doing on separately and together.
Yeah.
And man, I want y'all to be able to do it full time, and I'm trying to help y'all do that. And
wow. Well, that's just. I got to tell you, man, that's actually really timely that you, I mean, first of all, I appreciate that. That's awesome. And to be that, I mean, there's obviously conversations being had all over the internet about whether you have to go to church or not. But to be that community is me and Gons have actually talked a lot about it. And for those of you who may not know, Gons is my co-host for another show called Canary Cry Radio. And to be that community, or to even be in the community, not even, I don't know, I don't even believe it's something we created, but to be in that community and to meet cool dudes like you and gals like other people we've met, I mean, it means a lot. So that means a lot, man. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude. It means a lot what you guys are doing. So we're on the same page.
I've been having a lot of conversations actually with a small number of people, and about doing full-time podcasting. It's Gons and I we have quite the habit of having big ideas and then figuring out that it takes more than big ideas to make the big ideas happen. But a lot of it's just time. And so I've been having that conversation. So that's really nice of you to say. That's, I choked up there a little bit. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, dude. You know what? I actually fully plan on maybe choking up maybe once or twice a night. So it's okay.
All right. This is going to be so sweet. Okay.
Hey, how do I sound, by the way? Am I good? Is my level good?
Oh, you sound great. Yeah, no, you look good over here.
All right.
You got a little rig over there, or you doing
well, the old I bought a nice little $30 headset piece for my gaming situation, which turns out to work out well for
it works really well. I may have mentioned this once before on the air, but for like the first 3 or 4 years of Canary Cry Radio, I was on a gaming headset. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, a lot of people, over the years, we've had a lot of people send us emails and ask about how to start podcasting or what the best gear is, and I'm like, you know what? I can't really help you. I spent $60 on a gaming headset when we first started, and I just never even really thought about it after that.
Well, there's so much you can record on. One of the first songs I recorded with one of my old friends was on like a little just something like a microphone that came with the computer, and it was like the cheesiest little microphone. But we got it like up on this like little site that people would like kind of review and critique it, and they're like, "This sounds really good," blah blah blah. I'm like, "Well, this is like a free microphone. This is the worst thing in the world."
I know, man. I'm telling you, that's the world we live in. If you have a dream, you just there's free stuff available to you. It's not like we're in the 70s and you have to like have a building full of equipment to record stuff.
Yeah, there's no excuses anymore.
Yeah. So you're a musician. I definitely want to get back to that because and I imagine, I don't remember. It came a point with Canary Cry Radio that it's an impossibility to keep up with messages. So
yes.
So I apologize if we didn't get back to you, but that was the case.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so. First of all, you said you didn't grow up where we were at the time. We have now separated ourselves geographically. But So what's your story? Where are you in the country? I like finding out where people are in the country. You don't have to give us your zip code or anything, but what's your
Let
general
me
area?
let me see if you can guess this because I've been saying this recently.
Okay.
I'm not positive on this. I have no facts or no reason to back this up.
That's
I am
what we
in
specialize in here.
one of the fastest growing cities in the world, apparently.
Interesting. Now I have
And
some
I might
idea.
be completely wrong, but go ahead.
No, no, okay. Well, it's interesting you say that. I kind of keep up on those lists a little bit because I'm currently in a town that like is kind of getting a lot of attention that it never used to. So let me think about this. Fastest growing, and I'm not googling. I promise.
Okay.
I'm going straight off the dome here.
So you
Um,
can ping.
let me give three guesses.
Okay.
All right. The first one that I feel like you have to guess every time somebody says like, "Oh, it's the blah 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 in the country," you gotta say Austin, Texas. Although
Mm.
I don't know if that's necessarily in the growth mode anymore.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think so. I think it's too big already to
yeah.
grow.
Okay. All right. Well, I wasted that one. Um,
Can I say
yes.
same state?
Yes.
Same state.
Oh, in Texas.
Yes, same state.
Okay. Same state of Texas. Oh, it would help if I knew more Texas towns.
The biggest. All right, come
No,
on.
don't.
I almost
I'm
did
just
it.
gonna have to name all the Texas towns that I know. Uh, it couldn't be Dallas. That's like already
It
a
is
bit.
absolutely
It is
Dallas.
Dallas.
It is Dallas.
What? I thought
Yes.
they were like already at the top of their game.
No, man. This is a crazy town.
Okay.
It is growing rapidly, and me living here like for a long time,
S-
I'm like witnessing it grow.
So you're kind of like in the midst of the whole migrant thing, huh? I mean,
Dude,
is that a big thing in Dallas?
yes, it is, and
Because Dallas
I've
is
got
one of those like liberal Texas towns, right? Or am I wrong?
well, it was not, but it's becoming very liberal.
Interesting. It's because
As because it's growing.
Austin's too expensive now, so it's all spilling over into
Uh,
Dallas.
Austin's too young and hippie,
Yeah.
hipster,
Okay.
not hippie, but hipster.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying anything bad about Austin. I love Austin. I love the hill country.
I've been there.
I
It's a
actually
good
have,
time.
yeah, my mom actually lives just north of Austin, and the hill country is amazing. But Dallas is it's cool because I'm not gonna drag it out, but I lived with my mom for a long time, up until eighth grade. We moved all over the place. I went from school to school to school, and when I was about to start high school, we were moving again, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of making new friends. I need to go to high school in one place. So I moved in with my father in Garland, which is just outside of Dallas, and which is actually where I live. Not really Dallas, but I say Dallas.
Right.
Um, but I'm watching Dallas grow, and I'm witnessing the influx of culture and people, and it's amazing. I love it, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see what's coming to Dallas and the things that are happening, and all the Deep Ellum. What they call Deep Ellum is where, like, when I first started playing music, I was playing at like 18 or 19 years old. I was playing down in Deep Ellum, and it was kind of a place where people were like, you don't want to go down there.
Yeah, it
You
kind of
really don't
sounds
want to go down
shady.
there.
Even the name sounds shady.
Yeah, it does. It's weird, right? But and it used to be very shady. Actually, no, a long time ago, before I started playing there, it was the place to go. Like my parents went down there to hang out. That was the
Right.
cool place in Dallas to go. When I started playing music, and bars and whatever, and Deep Ellum, it was a really shady place, and I never had any fear of walking around by myself. But it was not a place you wanted to walk around by yourself.
Right. But it's different now.
Um, now, man, every time I go down there, which I don't get out very much anymore, but every time I go down there, there's new businesses and new things that are going on. There's a 24/7 comedy club down there, and
Whoa,
well,
24/7 comedy club? Well,
okay, no, I might
late.
have said that.
It's
I might
late.
have said that wrong. At 7 days a week is what I meant to say. I'm sorry,
Okay. Yeah, no, that's
7 days a
rad.
week, which is cool. I mean, you don't see that very much.
No.
And just new businesses, and it's really cool. Deep Ellum is a cool place to go, see live bands and whatever, if that's what you're into. It's cool, man. I love Dallas. It's a great place, but there's another side of me that just loves the country, man. So I want to be out like in my own little world where nobody can hear me.
Yeah, I like that,
So
man.
yeah.
That sounds like a good gig you got over there. So, you said you were moving around a lot as a kid. Was it all in Texas? What was the deal?
Yeah, dude. I don't know if you've ever been to Texas, but it's a really big state.
I've driven across it once, and I thought it was going to be forever. I thought I had died.
So I used to play in a band from like 2008 to 2012 ish, maybe, and we toured. I was busy. I would play like 4 shows a week, maybe.
Yeah.
We hardly ever left Texas.
Huh.
Yeah, and
You didn't.
I mean,
You just didn't have to, basically.
yeah, you didn't have to exactly.
All right. Well, there.
Yeah, I didn't really. No, I never left Texas. I haven't actually, as a matter of fact, I've never really been very far outside of Texas. I've been to Florida once. I went to just about a month ago. I went to Seattle for the first time. That was my first real vacation I've ever taken, just for like pure pleasure.
Vacation in Seattle.
The only reason I went, I have a friend that lives up there, and I found round trip tickets for like $250. So I was like, well, that is a good deal.
That's
and
a good deal.
I'm gonna go hang out.
Got to jump on it.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty. I'm small town. I haven't been very far and done a whole lot of things. So.
But you're just rocking that music scene in Texas.
Well, not so much anymore.
Oh, okay.
I kind of dropped out of the music scene. Okay.
So many questions. So many. I'm gonna let you finish this thought, and then I'm gonna have to go back a couple steps.
Yes, please do. I was just gonna say really quickly, I dropped out of the music scene because, and we can dive into this too later, because I felt a calling. I was in the secular market. After I quit trying to be a professional musician, I came back to Dallas, got a job, and then I started playing again with a band. I fell in love with reggae music.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and
I feel.
Yeah, right. Oh, man, I can't stand that word. And I fell in love with this band that I realized was from Dallas, and I was like, man, these guys are really cool. And I started going to all the shows, and I weaseled my way into this band. So I ended up playing for this band that I actually ended up playing like the main stage at House of Blues like multiple times, which I had never done. Wow. And at one point, I said, this I can't do this anymore because I feel like I'm wasting my time. This is a hobby of mine. I'm not getting paid for it. It was just a hobby.
Right.
And so I decided to back out of it. We were just doing an album. We just finished an album, and we were playing main stage House of Blues, and that was my last show. And I said, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I've got to go focus on something else. And I told them what I was doing. They didn't understand it.
Right.
I felt the calling to do some work for the kingdom, and that is where I'm at right now.
That is awesome, man. Okay. All right. I like that a lot, and we're definitely going to have to go back to that.
For sure.
Because I know and you probably know too, we share some experiences there a little bit. I think you made a little deeper than I, but so. By this time, you left because you wanted to do something for the kingdom. How long had you known Jesus for? How long have you been a Christian?
Man, that's a long story.
And maybe,
dude.
yeah, and that could be two different stories too. So
that's a long story.
So,
and if you want to break it down into like a couple minutes,
I'm gonna let you make that choice. This is your time. So
okay, well, I'm gonna do a happy medium. And okay. So
don't miss any of the good stuff though.
Ah, man. All right. Well, I'm just gonna do this really quickly. My family is amazing. Every single person in my family I love to death, and they've always been amazing. And my family is pretty much all Christian. So I was raised in a Christian household. My parents divorced when I was a baby, so I've always known the split. Yeah. But both my mother and my father they were always friends. There was never any after the divorce. They got along great. And it was because of me. But so I was raised in a Christian household. My dad was a Christian. My mom was a Christian.
Wait, were you saying they got divorced because of you?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, they were friends because of you.
Yes, they were friends.
Okay. Yes.
No,
I didn't know if you were like making a joke and I should laugh or okay.
No.
All right, friends because of you. Well, that's beautiful.
Yes, my friends because of me. My parents have so much love. But I never really went to church, man. I can probably count on one hand how many times I went to church.
Interesting. I'm always surprised to hear that, but I hear it maybe more often than I thought. Maybe it's not super common, but super Christian, praying all the time, talking about Jesus? No. Okay.
No.
Got it.
Just one of those like just, I guess before them, I don't know much about my family history. I think my family's been gone for a while.
Huh.
As far as my like great grandparents and stuff, I don't know who they are. My like they won't divulge the information
Really?
as to who they were or what their names were. I don't. My name that it pops up, Jamey Gleaves. It is not my name. Gleaves is just by marriage. I don't really know what my real name is. Anyway,
Well,
so
like you've asked them specifically, or they just never mentioned who your great grandparents were?
it's weird because we're talking about two sides of a family. So like on my dad's side, my great grandmother has been there my entire life, and she just passed away last year, which is crazy. My great grandmother, I'm almost 30 years old. My great grandmother was alive
Yeah,
up
I
until
had a
last
great
year.
grandma for a little longer than usual too.
And she, that was my first death, as far as experiencing death of a loved one. And
Wow.
I'm almost 30, and it was amazing because last year I knew Jesus very well. It didn't faze me. Like I was almost relieved that she was not experiencing pain anymore. And
Really? Wow.
I cried for a minute when I went to the viewing and saw her body, but it was almost tears of joy.
Yeah.
And I was afraid to experience death because I had never experienced it. But afterwards, I was like, that was really easy.
Huh.
Believe what I believe now, you know. But beforehand, let me get back to like growing up. Raised in a Christian household. When I started high school, I lost my faith because I started experimenting with drugs and whatever. Started with marijuana, and then I went into the hallucinogenics and all that stuff.
The classics.
So I lost. Yeah, the classic, the classics. So I didn't lose my belief in a creator. I have always believed in God. And a creator of the universe. I had never lost my spirituality, but I did lose my Christianity. I did not believe in Jesus anymore as my savior. I did actually believe in Jesus as a person. He was a prophet, I guess, much like, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Muslim faith believes Jesus was a person and a prophet and a good person.
Yeah,
They don't believe him as a savior, right? So I had lost my faith in high school, and I went very pagan. I started experiencing sleep paralysis.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that terrifying thing that I know I heard you talk about in the last show with I forgot her name, but you were talking about sleep paralysis. Yes. And dude, as much as I do how terrifying that is, especially when you don't know what's happening.
Oh yeah, it's out of control.
So that's what started me off on my conspiracy self, was the sleep paralysis. I got into I think the first site I was like involved in, and you may be familiar with Above Top Secret.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first thing where I started looking into conspiracies and stuff like that. So I started researching sleep paralysis, and then I found out about lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences and astral projection, which all the same thing to me, really. And after a couple of sleep paralysis experiences, I decided, because when you're in sleep paralysis, you're that you're fully aware, you're conscious.
Yeah.
And so having already like looked into what that was about, the next time that it had happened, I was like, okay, you know what? And so I'm no longer a Christian at this point. I'm pagan, spiritual, but not Christian. And I was going through a sleep paralysis experience, and I felt this overwhelming presence. Like I can only explain as at the time, Satan himself, just right there in the room. And I was terrified. It was like one of the scariest I've ever been in my life. And I powered through it. I decided that I was going to get up and move.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, I got up, but I didn't move. I was all of a sudden hovering above my body. I could see myself there.
Yeah.
Laying in bed. And at first I thought I died.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, did I just die? I mean, that's my body right there. And then I was like, no, wait, I read about this. This is an out-of-body experience. I'm not in my body anymore. And so my first thought was my mother. And all of a sudden, like there was this weird like tunnel thing that happened, and I appeared in front of my mother. I could see my mother, and she was I started observing things. I was looking at what she was doing and what she was wearing and what was going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm experimenting right now. I'm going to see if this is real or if this is a dream, because it kind of feels very much like a dream. But
Yeah.
dreams, I'm always third person in my dreams. This experience, I was very much first person, and there was no body. I didn't have a body. It was just an essence. There was no arms, no legs. I
Just
couldn't
like
see
your
myself.
consciousness flying around.
Yeah, exactly. And so I started testing. Like I was like, I'm looking at the surroundings. I'm looking at what my mom's wearing. Look what she's doing. And then all of a sudden, I saw I was outside of the house. I moved outside of the house, and I saw something that freaked me out. So that just kind of like all of it together just freaked me out. I came back. I was like, I got to get out of this. This is weird.
What did
So
you see that freaked you out? That seems like a cool detail.
Well, it's not something I can explain really. It was just like this
Just something weird.
presence. It was a presence that I could feel over in the distance, and I said, "No, I'm done." Okay, so I came back. I came back to my body. It was weird. I woke up, and I couldn't even hardly breathe. I was like, that was intense.
Yeah.
But I, of course, had to call my mother instantly and ask her what she was wearing and what she was doing. No, I didn't ask her. I'm sorry. I told her what she was wearing and what she was doing.
Right.
And she freaked out. She was like, "Are you here right now?" Obviously, I wasn't, and I kind of briefly said, "No, you know what? I'll call you back later." So that set me on this path of like, okay, there's something else going on. And I tried pursuing that whole astral travel thing, and I would have experiences where I would leave my body, and then the time out of my body would get shorter and shorter because I would get scared. I would see something that would terrify me.
Yeah.
Sooner and sooner, and it was always this big dark presence. I could not explain what it was. Yeah.
Yeesh.
Long story short, I'll skip past all the other pagan stuff. I'm a diabetic, and I had gone through about two or three, what they call diabetic ketoacidosis, which is you're brushing death with that. You're really playing with fire. And every time I came out of it, I felt more compelled to live.
Did you ever have any weird experiences in that state?
In DKA?
Yeah.
Diabetic ketoacidosis when I was in the hospital?
Sure, yeah.
No, I don't remember.
Kind of unconscious.
Yes, I was unconscious, and every time I suffered some heavy blows to my health. The first time when I woke up in the hospital, I woke up with severe tinnitus in my right ear.
Oof.
And coupled with severe tinnitus, severe hearing loss. So I'm about 85% deaf in my right ear, coupled with loud tinnitus. So I woke up like that, and it was like, whoa, what just happened? So I got this appreciation for life after that first moment. And then I was still playing music and traveling at this time, and it happened again. And both of them were set by food poisoning. I get food poisoning, which is what set off the DKA. The first.
And now, are you living for the Lord at this point, or is this kind of still in the pagan, the old pagan days?
This is still kind of like I wasn't necessarily. Yeah, no, still pagan. Yes, very much pagan. And I was heavy into like sacred geometry, like doing all the lines and making art.
Spiritual, man.
Very spiritual, dude. Crystals and rocks and Buddha statues, whatever it was. Long story short, the last time it happened, or not the last time it happened, the time before last, I came out of it, and my mom was there, and my mom has so much to do with where I am now with my faith and my belief. She was there in the hospital with me, and she started telling me, she started begging me to find, she was like, baby, you gotta talk to Jesus. And, me at this point, I was like, you know what? You might be right. I was like, I don't think I have many more of these in me. Yeah. I might die next time. And, it's weird to contribute, my salvation moment to a series. But when I got out of the hospital, my mom came to stay with me for a couple weeks, and I had bought this series. I think it aired on the History Channel, but I don't remember. It was just called The Bible, simply called The Bible.
Yeah. I think I remember that.
No, this is called The Son of God. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a 3-disc set, and I'm not kidding when I say that like the first 2 minutes of the movie or this show, I was bawling. It showed the guy that played Jesus walking out, and he was saying, a verse from the Bible, and I just started bawling, and I was like, no way, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah. So I that night I started talking to God, and I was like, man, come back, because I skipped a very important detail, which I would like your input on.
Yeah, let's do it.
In fourth grade, I was with my best friend. He's still one of my best friends at the time, but he's atheist right now. We were in his room, and we were talking, hanging out with his older brother and his older brother's friend. And his older brother's friend started bringing up Christianity and Jesus and this, and we both said, no, I don't know anything about that. And he's like, well, can you guys do me a favor really quick? Get on your knees and just ask Jesus into your heart. And me and my best friend looked at each other, and we were like, okay, whatever. So we got on our knees and literally came up with tears in our eyes. I had no idea why. I had no idea what happened there.
You said fourth grade this is happening?
This was fourth grade, and I didn't know anything else about Jesus for the rest of and up until just a couple years ago. Okay, so that happened, and I never went to church. I never prayed, never read a Bible, and I went through my pagan days after like denouncing Christ, and being like, Christ is not God. There is something out there, but that's not Jesus. That's a indoctrinated thing.
Right.
And I went through my pagan days, like we just went through, and after that experience with the that DVD that I bought, or my mom bought, and I went through that, and I asked Jesus into my heart again, and that was it, man. I've been on this war path since then that I can't get over, man. You can never ever you can put me in a prison underground, and I've still got Jesus. I'm okay. You know what I mean? So like you cannot take away what I have now, and I'm fully confident in what I believe in, and you can do whatever you want to me, you can say whatever you want to me. You're never going to change what I believe now.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. I mean, I'm just so blown away by the fourth grade. I mean, this kid must have just come fresh out of Sunday school, or not Sunday school, youth group, just like blazing little evangelist.
I don't even know his name. I don't know who he was, and I've never seen him since then. It might have been an angel, man.
But he got you.
You know what actually started that conversation? My best friend that I was hanging out with, his older brother, the guy that asked us to ask Jesus in our heart, with his friend, my best friend's brother drew a comic that was on his wall, and it was an airplane that had an angel splattered on the windshield. And the guy looked at it and he said, "That's not really funny." And then they kind of got into this like whole thing, like, well, it's not serious, blah blah blah. And then me and my best friend were like, why are y'all arguing? And then that guy looked at us and was like, you guys don't know Jesus. And anyway, that's where that went.
Wow.
But my pagan days, I had so many questions about things, about the world, because I got into, my first conspiracy was like UFOs and aliens and all that stuff, and I saw all the stuff going on. Yeah, the good stuff. And I saw the stuff going on. I started questioning, like, why is this happening? Why is the world in the shape it's in?
Yeah, and I'm curious because, within the kind of the Christian version of that community, it can always go back to Jesus, and everybody's like, you know what? It's all good. Sleep paralysis, Jesus has got on lock. Aliens, yeah, maybe they're like sketchy demons or something, but don't worry, Jesus has got your back. But when you're kind of living in that the spiritual side of life, not necessarily Christ-centered, you don't know what to think about it all. Like, you don't know if the aliens, seeded us or are here to help us, but why are they kind of mean? Like, they're kind of mean to us. Nobody's like, I got abducted by aliens and it was pretty chill. Like, everybody's horrified about it.
Who's ever said that, right? But yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and bridge what my pagan days into my Christ days. That's about around the time I found Age of Deceit. And all of a sudden, everything made sense.
It's about every other episode somebody brings
right.
up.
I'm sorry. I had to do it. But,
no, it's great.
That's what started me on my, that answered a lot of my questions. And I've been on this, like I said, this warpath ever since then, man. And I'm super excited, man. I'm really happy now. Things, as grim as the world may seem.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be ignorant to it, but you also don't want to drown yourself in it. And I think that there's so many God is making so many big moves right now.
Here's what I'm curious about, and I want to get into the big moves. But I'm curious about, because I know for a fact we actually have some listeners who consider themselves spiritual, and they're very wonderful people and very gracious and listen to this show and don't mind we talk about Jesus a whole bunch. But going through the discovery of the aliens and the I don't know if you got into any of the government stuff at that time or anything like that. Just being the sort of spiritualist, I guess, versus being the Christian. And I've had some people kind of speak into this for me. But what was your experience with that? I mean, being in the conspiracy community, both on fire and also as on fire for spiritualism. How can you speak to the differences?
It was very sad. Oh wait, can you hear me?
Better now.
There we go. Sorry, I had to move my mic. It was very sad. I was very unfulfilled. I had, like I said, I had so many questions and nothing. It was depressing because you see everything that's going on, and being on that side of the spiritual spectrum, I guess. It's all the people are amazing. They're so kind and helpful, and they want to do everything. And we all got together, and like it was just this big happy bunch of people. But like really deep down, everybody was like, "Man, what is going on in this world? Why is it so bad?
Yeah.
Why are things the way they are?" And I don't know. It just like it was like I felt above a lot of people in the world because I felt like I knew something that nobody else knew. And it was just very like it made you feel alone.
Yeah.
And there was no answer. There was no answer at that, because there's just so like there's always somebody above you that knows something more.
Yeah.
Always.
Right.
And I think that's the way a lot of the societies, those guys that stay behind the curtains, they work. There's always somebody that knows a little something more than you, and you're like, well, why do you know more than me?
Right.
And I guess it boils down to money at sometimes or whatever it may be, but there's questions to be had. And like, there was joy whenever you like had to put on a face, like you go hang out with people like, well, I believe I'm spiritual and I'm happy and positive vibrations and whatever it was,
Right.
And it's like, you just got to be happy. Well, that you're putting on a mask that, you're only lying to everybody. And, like I said, man, once I found Christ and once I found you guys and everything that's really going on, it answered all my questions. It filled my heart up, and now I'm not afraid to talk to people about my problems and the things that's going on in my life. I'm not great, man. I'll sit here and admit every one of my faults tonight.
Yeah.
We all have problems, and life's not perfect. Life's not supposed to be perfect. We're told it's not going to be great. It's not going to be easy for us.
Right.
But we do have hope, something to look forward to. And I don't know, man.
You nailed it. Nailed it.
I don't know where we were going with that.
No, that was all good. That answered my question perfectly.
Cool.
Because that, and a lot of people kind of teeter back and forth, and some people find an interesting, Christ-leaning spiritualness. And so, it's a whole, it's a whole spectrum of where people are. And so it's interesting to hear the experiences from somebody who's been on both sides of that spectrum.
Well, I think that everybody has this, not everybody. I think a lot of people have this idea that there's this one way and that like everybody should be on the same page, but I don't think it's that way.
Yeah.
Even in like as a Christian, our relationship with God it's between you and God,
Right.
And even like if you're not a Christian, like you're your view of reality that's yours.
Yeah.
So like we're not all supposed to have the same ideas and opinions.
Well, yeah, well, I gotta say, I mean, and this has been a big criticism of the church for a while, so I'm not bringing up any new ideas here. But, the conversation of like, well, you really need to be in fellowship, you really need to go to a church. But I mean, I think it's obvious here that you are quite on fire for Jesus and got your feet well on the ground and, not floating off into sacred geometry town. But not to say that necessarily means you don't know Jesus, but you know what I mean? It's you alone in this conversation so far have shattered the the argument that everybody needs to be going to First Baptist of small town USA.
Well, can I tell you about like what I'm doing right now with that with church?
Yes.
I get invited to church a lot, and when I go to church sometimes with friends or somebody that invites me to church, I'll go to a church.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against church. I think church is amazing. I think a lot of people need church, and church has done a lot for. And then when I say church, I'm talking about like a building that you go to on Sunday mornings or whatever.
The social organization.
Yes. So I'll go to these things, and what happens with me is as I go to church, or I went to a men's retreat not too long ago with a friend of mine. For a church that I don't go to and I've never attended. And I find myself in these situations where I listen to the pastor talking and I'm just like, I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I want to engage in conversation.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I can't sit there and just listen to this. It doesn't fill me up and it doesn't, whatever. It doesn't do it.
You make a great point. Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me. And I've tried different churches. I've tried different, whatever it may be. But today, what I'm doing right now and what I'm calling church, because I'm going to church now, but what I'm calling church is what I'm doing with friends, the people that I've been meeting and people that I used to know that, man, I just recently, a friend of mine that I used to know a long time ago, we didn't really know each other very well, but this was back before I was a Christian. We were both, we go out and drink. He would come out to our shows and we would drink and whatever it was. I mean, we were normal high school, post high school hood rats, whatever we did. And anyway, we reconnected not too long ago, and he told me that he found God, and I was like, dude, let's hang out and talk.
That's awesome.
So we hung out and we talked. And it was great. I think I opened him up to a lot of things. And every week we've been inviting people out to hang out. Somebody will reach out to us during the week and we're like, well, hey, come out, hang out with me and my buddy. We just, no criticism. You don't have to be Christian. Come hang out with us. And we're not going to judge you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm right and you're wrong, first of all, because God's honest truth, nobody knows. Until we die, nobody knows.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong and I'm right. Okay. I'm not going to judge you for what you believe. And I hope that you just listen to what I have to say. Me and my buddy are going to talk about God and how much he fills our cup up during the week and makes us feel good,
Yeah.
And so far every week it's been like different groups of people that come and like, I'm opening them up, I'm breaking chains. As far as I feel like I'm breaking chains, they, a lot of people are like, well, why do Christians think that, why does the Bible say it's okay to have slaves? I'm like, dude, you're not even
the
you're
old
way
classic.
Yeah. So I'm breaking some chains for some people that don't really understand what it really is to be, Christian, whatever. And it feels really good for me. I love hanging out and just talking to people about, their testimonies or whatever it is. I love sharing my testimony. I haven't really got to my miracle yet.
Oh no, we're definitely going to get there. But I got to say, what you're describing right now, I mean, growing up in the church, and I've been around the heavy duty stuff. You like the real go on missions trips once or twice a year, and bring up the Bible in your classroom as much as you possibly can, and the real hit 'em hard evangelical type of mindset, or not even the evangelistic mindset. And I've never, and it's weird how it's kind of how hesitant I am to even admit it, but I've never actually led somebody to the Lord in the context of like, I am going to go get someone saved, and then I go out and I do it. You know, it's every time that the most impactful and powerful situations I've had with people have been in conversation that just comes up out of nowhere. And it's shown more fruit than any training or any trip I've ever taken.
So I'm going to add to what you just said.
Add. Yes, and
I just recently met this girl a few months ago. Or no, not a few months ago. Like 2 months ago. Not even 2 months ago.
Right.
On, of all places, Tinder.
There you go.
And I had been on. I've just been trying to meet people. I did not meet anybody on Tinder. Like I met maybe one person on Tinder before her.
And just to dispel any rumors, Tinder is not just for sex.
No, it's not at all. Especially if, like me, man, I did not like message girls because I wanted to hook up. I didn't actually message any girls ever. And the only reason I only met this girl was because she messaged me. I met up with her. She's not a Christian, okay? Just the other night, after being with me for a couple months, she's like, I think I might be Christian. So, okay. So
that's awesome.
So here's the deal. I still didn't push it. I was like, oh yeah? Well, I said, well, holler at me when you think you want to be a Christian.
Wow. Nice move.
So
nice. You scoundrel.
We don't push it, man. That's not our job.
Right.
We lead, we plant seeds and lead by example.
Yeah.
But God's the one that does that work.
Yeah,
changing hearts.
I'm a firm believer in that, and it's actually it's surprising to me how often that's an unpopular opinion. But yeah, I've seen God do all of the work, and then I come in and just whatever. Maybe they need somebody to close the deal with them, but every time that's happened to me, it's because God does all the heavy lifting, and I think he's better at it than I am.
Dude, I couldn't do it. I'm the worst salesman in the world.
I'm the same way.
Anyway, so yeah, I've seen her cry twice now when I start talking about God. So she's on her way, and I'm super pumped about that.
That's awesome, and it's so much more awesome that it's God doing it.
It's totally God.
Rather than you having to feel like, well, I can't date you until you say the sinner's prayer. This. Anyways, that's a different conversation.
Well, so what was I say the first night that we did, I did the group gathering that I was telling you about. The first night, it was just me and my friend that had just recently accepted Christ, and it was me and him and 5 other people who were not Christians. They were either atheist or agnostic. Okay. And we're sitting here. We actually went to a bar. We met at a bar.
Yeah.
So I'm breaking the thing of like, well, Christians can't have a beer.
You can break that chain. That's a chain. You can break that chain.
I broke it anyway. I'm sitting here giving them my testimony with a beer in my hand. Okay. And I start breaking down when I mention when God came into my life, and we'll get to that story because that's the miracle night.
Great.
When God came into my life, and I started crying out of pure joy. And I think I saw a couple of tears being shed just because of my emotion,
Yeah.
So that was the best. Even if they didn't hear any word I said, they saw my emotion.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing that I think could have happened that night.
Yeah, they saw that it was real. Whatever it was real.
Yeah, very real.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I think we should all pray for more opportunities like that. / call more friends and invite them out. I think that alone is a hard enough task.
It really is, and I don't really call that. I don't like call random people and be like, "Hey, come out." Like I play the field and I see like who's doing what and what's going on. I don't invite that many people. I think actually, as a matter of fact, most of it just happens. I've got a couple people coming Friday night. We're meeting up tomorrow, 2 days from now, and I've got a couple people that just so happened I met last weekend, last Saturday. I went to a reggae show in Dallas, and I met a guy that he's a new drummer for the band I used to play in, and we started talking about something, and I said, well, I'm a Christian, and blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm not going to go off on that right now. And he goes, no, go off on it. And I'm like, I mean, I get together with these guys, we just hang out and we talk. Well, not guys, but guys, girls, whatever.
Yeah.
Get these people. and we just hang out and talk and just have a good time and tell stories and testify and blah blah blah. He's like, well, would you mind if I came? Sure, man. Are you kidding me? Of course. So yeah, so I got this guy he's not a Christian. He's coming to hang out with us on Friday night, and he's way open to hearing what we have to say.
Yeah, he sounds pumped.
Yeah, he's way pumped, and I'm pumped about him being pumped.
That's awesome, man. Now I'm pumped. We're all pumped here.
We're all pumped,
and all the listeners are pumped.
What? Anyway, yeah, man. I mean, it's just good. I'm having a great time. I love the last few months have been an extreme blessing. I don't deserve them, but God is blessing me, and I love it.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool to hear. Yeah, I guess I got to hear that story now. How your miracle moment.
The miracle night, man. This is a night that changed my life. So these were my pagan days, and I was okay. So before this night, I had gotten. Have you ever heard of scabies?
Yes, but I don't know if I know the actual thing.
Scabies is a skin mite. It's a bug.
Ooh.
It's like lice in your hair. Scabies is what causes mange in dogs.
Yeah, I think that's what I think I only associate it with the mange.
Yes, that's what scabies. I'm pretty sure that's what scabies is.
Okay.
There's a human version of it, and it sucks.
Human scabies.
Dude, they are bad.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
And let me tell you how bad they are. I got scabies, and I lived with scabies for a year.
Oh.
So there are so many different treatments for it. And they all include bombing your house, pulling out the carpet, getting rid of all your clothes.
Oh, because it's like a whole environmental deal too.
Whole thing. And using, I went through prescription medication, which is like topical ointments. I went through all the natural remedies, which of course I started with the natural remedies because I was all about nature.
Yeah, because you're
I still am about it.
A little Texas hippie boy.
Right. Well, it turns out nothing worked for me. Nothing worked. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, okay, so I have diabetes and it plays on your emotions. It really messes with your head.
Yeah,
but
that
I'm
blood
telling you right
sugar,
now,
man, that'll get you all over the place.
These scabies, dude, took me to a place I had never been in my life. After a year of dealing with them, I almost got suicidal. Or no, I was suicidal.
Because of the scabies.
They were driving me nuts. They were driving me to the point of like, I do not want to live anymore because this is awful.
Like, what is just constant itching or pain?
Yes, just itching. All is itching.
Is there a rash? Can you like?
Yeah, you break out.
Tell me how do I know I has the scabies?
Well, it spreads, it grows.
It is like a rash thing.
Well, I would say rash, but like these are bugs.
Ooh.
This is bugs in your skin. So I don't know what a rash really is. I mean, that could be different things, I guess. Irritation.
Yeah, I don't really know.
But these are bugs in your skin, and it just grew over the entire year that I had it. They just spread. Most people that get scabies, they don't deal with it that long. They handle it. It's gone. Right. You can take, like the prescription, like I said, top
God,
point.
That sounds horrible.
It is awful. And this particular night, I was done with it, man. I was bawling. I was crying, and I was ready to I wasn't going to do it this night, but I had made the decision that I wasn't going to deal with it anymore. And I was bawling, and I was like, I couldn't take it. I didn't care about anybody else. I had always thought, even though I wasn't Christian at this time, I always thought that suicide was the coward's way out.
Right.
But I didn't care. I was like, I'm done. You guys do not understand what I'm dealing with right now. And this night I was breaking down, and I had gotten to the point where I couldn't almost breathe because of how hard I was crying. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got hit, and I'm about to cry thinking about it. I got hit with this overwhelming sense of love and compassion. And I saw this bright light, and not like physically. I didn't see it with my eyes. I saw it in my inner self, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was this love that I had never felt in my life. And within like a fraction of a second, not audibly, but I heard the voice of God like I had never heard it before. And it was this, just all at once I heard, don't worry about it, man. I got you and you're doing okay. And you're on the right path. And all of a sudden I go from crying from suicidal, like I'm done with this, to like crying like, oh my God, there's life and love and so much more for me to do. And I'm not kidding you when I say I had given up on treatment for the scabies. I'm not kidding you when I say 2 weeks later it was completely gone.
Wow. Oh my God.
I didn't do anything to get rid of it. It just disappeared.
Ah, man,
that's a miracle.
I gotta tell you, man, that is a miracle. A, B, as you're telling me this story, I'm like getting overwhelmed over here by something. This is a real deal.
Yeah, this is pretty, man. And it's dude, that night set me on. You know what? And I didn't really become a Christian. That wasn't when I became a Christian.
Right.
That set me on.
That was just you weren't even like rubbing the anointing oil and asking for a miracle. You were just in the throes of suicidal ideation, number one, but just pain and it's just agony.
I left that one little detail. I had a vision during that fraction of a second.
Oh, just one little detail, just one little minor supernatural detail. Well, okay, let's hear it, Jamey.
It happened all at the same time. So it's just like this intense experience. But I had a vision. It was me with my arms spread open, and I had in my hand a weapon, which at first I thought was a sword. Uh-huh. But can you guess what that weapon was?
It was a sweet guitar.
No, it was a Bible.
Okay.
It was a Bible.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
This is the vision I saw, and it was like that was my weapon. Like I saw myself holding my weapon.
Yeah.
Which I thought at first was a sword, but no, it was a Bible.
Wow.
And from then on, I didn't realize at the time it was a Bible. Looking back at my vision, and growing where I grew, I realized that that's what that was a Bible. It was a book of God's word.
Yeah.
And that's, that set me on a path that I went through the diabetic ketoacidosis a couple times after that. And that's where I, eventually was like, okay, Jesus is the one I'm looking for. And man, that's, my best friend. Right now. So
dude, that's amazing. That is awesome. I mean, that's the kind of experience that and I'm not trying to draw comparisons here, but that's the kind of experience that like atheists or all of us ask for in the times where we're like, just give me a little taste. I just need something, and even a spiritual person or an atheist or any number of people might be like, okay, look, I need to know for real. Show me the deal. Mm-hmm. And you got it, man.
Yeah, man. And there's so many things that man, I feel like we could have like a 4-hour conversation tonight, but
that's fine. I got to tell you this real quick because I was just thinking this. I'm looking at the timeline as this is recording. We're only an hour in. I mean, lately I've been going pretty far, but I feel like we have covered so much. This is some good economics of time. So let's just keep going, and we end when we end. That's how we roll around here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. So anyway, man, that's where I am right now. I'm doing good. I've got I'm living with my girlfriend right now. I've got my studio set back up, making music. I've got my gaming stuff set up, which I know most people would disagree with me. Why waste your time on that? Well, it's art. Games are art.
Hey,
are we not all creators?
Hey, there you go.
Somebody created that.
There you go. We actually talk about gaming surprisingly more than I ever thought we would on this podcast. But I don't know if you heard of the episode with John, but yeah, I don't need to have a 45-minute conversation
Yeah,
about gaming, but
we could do that on another time.
yeah, I was gonna say if we might just have to go off the air for that one.
I'll send you my Steam name.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So now, before the interview, you sent me some information, some stuff, that you might want to talk about, or some details that you might be bringing up, just to give me a heads up, which I appreciate. And I'm looking at the list here, and we fit quite a bit of them. There is this one though here, and it may be kind of sensitive. So as I say to everybody, if you don't want to go there, we don't have to go there, and we can.
I am an open book, and I will not hide anything. So ask away.
So you mentioned your mother before,
yes,
and coming out of the scary blood sugar times. But you said something here. My mother's role and leading me to truth and finding God from prison. Was that metaphorical prison?
No,
or was that a real life?
She was
prison?
in prison.
Okay.
She was in prison.
All right.
So like I said, before, she was a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's always been a Christian. She, in my younger days, before I moved away, when I moved in with my dad, when I lived with my mother, she had nothing but love. My mom is a great mother. She will argue that fact. She thinks she was a terrible mother.
Right.
I think she was an amazing mother.
Yeah,
she showed nothing but love.
Amazing mothers do think they're not doing as good a job as they should.
She did everything she could possibly do right. She did end up with certain addiction problems. Whatever it was, I actually don't know all the full details. She wound up in prison for, I don't even remember how long she was in there. It was at least a couple years, I think.
Right.
But you know what? Before she went in, she was just the raised, programmed Christian. When she came out, she was somebody completely different.
Really?
And you hear it a lot. God will take you as low as He has to take you to bring you to Him. To Him. So He took her down. He took her to prison, and she went. Well, I'm not saying He took her to prison. Right. She put herself in prison.
Sure.
But when she was there, she really found God. And when she came out, man, she just shared so much with me about her revelations and her ideas. And she's as fringy as we are, man. She's wild.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I love, dude. My best conversations these days are with my mother and what we think. Dude, we had a conversation the other night about on the phone about Satan, about Lucifer, and his role, and having compassion. It's weird. I almost felt compassion for Lucifer this night. We were talking about oh my God, why, if God knows, if he did all this, if He knows everything and everything was already set in motion, He knew this had to happen. So it's if you look at this is me and my mother talking.
Right, sure.
If you look at Lucifer's role, what about the Jewish people's role, or what about I've got to do this to you. I have to do it to you,
right?
Because you're essential. Will we be where we are right now without what Lucifer did? Will we be in this free will?
Well, I know that's trippy, man. That's trippy to think about, because if he never slithered his way in,
we would just still be in the garden, right?
Yeah, we'd just be avoiding that tree. We would probably have by now the technology to forcibly keep people away from the tree.
That's a deep conversation, but
no, I get.
Yeah, I mean, any of it. We'll go off on any of it. But when my mom came out of prison, man, she opened my eyes up to a lot of the crazy stuff and her revelations, man. And I've got I don't know if you read. I sent you a link about the Reddit post that I did.
You copied and pasted the story. You talking about the story?
No. I actually sent you a link to something else. I guess you didn't read it, but it's really wild. What it was. It was, my mother woke up, and I'm not going to read it tonight. I might post it on your Patreon account or something like that, or maybe Facebook.
Cool.
It was something that she woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning and felt just absolutely compelled to write this down. Turns out, man, it just it's wild that it sounds like something that you could add to the next Bible, if there was a next Bible.
Wow.
It's wild, and I sent it to you. You should read it. It's cool. I'll post it so everybody else to read. It's totally open. My mom is way cool with everybody seeing it, because at first she wasn't cool with that. She held on to it for a couple years because it was so was this God talking to me? And even today, she won't. It's not God's words. These are her words that
Yeah.
she felt compelled to write down.
Yeah.
And she's not claiming this is what God told her. But when you look at it and you read it, man, it's intense. It's heavy, and it's almost like it's tear jerking, and it's all biblically truthful. Like it's intense.
Dang,
and I'm sure.
Maybe we should certainly talk about it. Maybe even if we don't do it today, but maybe we can do it for a little bonus material, and maybe we can read it.
It's not really long. I can read it. I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that tonight. It's not very long, but maybe let's do a bonus. Maybe
let's do a bonus. Well, we're planning a bonus episode. This is for the Patreon supporters. If you want to hear this and then hear Jamie and I talking about it. There you go. Patreon's a game, baby.
There we go.
All right. But so your mom is like, she's a trippy lady. She's like the real deal.
My mom's cool.
And just, just the review coming in kind of the like you said, programmed Christian, I think was what you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, and certainly,
I say that like it's a bad thing. It's not.
No. Well, and everybody listening to this is going to understand what that means. It's it's the difference between growing up and being Christian because that's what you do, and and there's not much attached to it except for that's what you grew up to be. Your parents and the society and church and that's what they made you. Mm-hmm. But then there's a whole other experience. And, fortunately or unfortunately for us, for a lot of people, it takes kind of that prison experience, maybe not necessarily going to prison literally, but for you, it was scabies. I mean, and a journey through paganism.
I at the time, after I really found Jesus, like I started looking forward. This sounds morbid. I started looking forward to those down moments. Like, come on, God, take me down and bring me closer to you.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's an unpopular opinion, or even because nobody likes pain, nobody likes suffering. But really,
that's why we look forward to heaven.
The greatest moments that I've ever had spiritually, they come from those dark moments, those deep down moments. And whether it's, a physical something that happens or an emotional or a spiritual or relational, I mean, there's all sorts of, it's good. That's kind of what the wilderness is all about. There's all sorts of these wilderness moments that, and I don't want to get too, cool hipster churchy pastor talk going, but it's those wilderness moments that really are like the most valuable in your spiritual walk.
I agree, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And both you and your mom really charged it on both that. So good job, you two.
Yeah, she does a lot of good work, man. You might actually want to have a talk with her one day. She's really smart. She's actually, as far as like biblical knowledge goes, she's a lot smarter than me, and she's been following this whole fringe truther movement for longer than I have. She introduced me to a lot of things like, the Hagmans and Rick Wilde.
Oh yeah.
All the guys. And I started looking at people, and that's where I ended up stumbling upon Age of Deceit, and then I ended up stumbling upon Canary Cry, and then I ended up stumbling upon the Joyspiracy, which is one of my favorite, by the way.
Nice.
I love listening to it. It keeps me going, man. I can't listen to music during the day. I'm tired of music most of the time. But
oh my gosh, dude, there's been so many controversial things that you have said that maybe they're not controversial, but I have experienced. I'm the same way. I can't listen to like music all day like I used to be able to.
I used to love music.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I still want to make my own.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are moments I have where I want to jam something.
Of course.
But most of the time I want to listen to somebody talk about something like important, or maybe not important.
Totally hear you, man. I'm a musician too. I've spent my times in bands and around those people and playing shows and festivals and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, one time, I don't know what came over me, but I finally snapped and I told somebody like, I really actually don't listen to that much music. Like I don't do it all the time. I kind of got other stuff going on. And it was as if I had just committed the darkest, most abysmal heresy that you could possibly have ever committed. And it was a horrifying moment because I just saw just all the respect and love drain out of this person's face.
Dude, I feel you because like I played music, so I did really well in high school. Like my grades and stuff were really good, and I should have really went to school. I could have gone to school, you know, I could have had help going to school.
Right.
But I decided not to go to school because I wanted to be a musician. Right. My dad, as a matter of fact, my dad and my mother, like they were in a band together, like when they were like before I was born, way before I was born. Yes.
That is awesome. Family band.
I was doomed to be a musician. So after high school, I was like, well, I'm gonna go play music. Like that's what I want to do. I love it. So I did that for a long time. I not only did I play locally for a long time, I traveled all around Texas for a while. I traveled outside of Texas. Where was I going with that?
Yeah, we were talking about the music and your parents were in a family band and
got tired of it, dude, and I just
Yeah, why did you? I mean, we know you decided you want to do something else or you want to do some stuff for the kingdom, but how did that
I got tired of the industry.
Yeah, okay.
The industry's bad.
Yeah.
Everybody's out for themselves. Everybody wants money and a piece of the pie. And it got to the point where there were so many people we had working for us that were getting a cut that I couldn't even feed myself. I wasn't making any money.
Wow.
And I saw a lot of people do. I played some really big shows. I mean, I played in front of thousands of people. I played in front of some really big people. I played for really big people. And I never not that I wanted. I don't want any kind of recognition. I'd rather be behind the drum set, maybe even behind a curtain.
Right.
I don't care about the recognition. I just needed to make a living. I need to feed myself. I'm a diabetic. I need to eat right, and I need to take my medicine.
Right.
So I saw all these people that were just in it. Like it was like it's this big money grab. It's this big money grab everywhere you go. So nowadays I don't even really want to listen to music anymore. I do. Every once in a while I do. I honestly, this sounds egotistical, but I love my own music more than anything. So
hey, that's good. Not a lot of people can listen to their own stuff.
Well, I do it as from a production standpoint. So I listen to it because I want to see how I can fix it.
There you go.
But yeah, anyway, that's where I'm at musically. I'm trying to hook up with other Christians right now. I've got a friend of mine who's a rapper, who he's a Christian as well, and we're trying to do some stuff together. I've got another friend of mine who is like a country rootsy kind of got a vibe to him, and he's a Christian. And we're kind of doing projects. I'm doing multiple projects right now.
Well, now see the thing that usually happens didn't happen to you, which is why people will leave the industry and then go become a worship pastor or something. Was that not an option for you?
No. When I left the industry, I just wanted to work because I had never really made good money. Man, I was raised in a very humble environment. Both my mother and my father, they worked really hard just to keep a roof over our heads.
Right.
And I can't say this for sure. And I'm gonna send this show to both my mom and my dad, and hopefully they don't get mad at me for saying this. But I think I make more money than they had ever made. Which it sounds like, I make a lot of money. No, I don't. I make just enough.
I mean, yeah, and that's what I think your parents would be very happy to hear that. I think that's what every parent wants their kid to do a little better.
My parents are so proud of me. They love me, and I love them. I got a wreck today on my way home from work, and my dad called me right after it happened.
You got in a wreck?
Yeah,
in a car accident?
It's a vehicular incident, and it was my fault completely. Here in the state of Texas, if you rear end somebody, no matter what the situation is, it's your fault.
Right.
And it was, man. I have a dash cam, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, that was my fault.
Yeah.
And it was a really
exciting day today. Now you're doing
very exciting with the dude I looked up to, man. I mean, I actually I look up to you. I'm almost halfway starstruck by talking to you.
Oh well, I appreciate that. That's very sweet.
I know I'm not trying to blow your horn, but yeah. So my dad called me right after the accident, and it was funny because my car was my front end's kind of done now. I might have to, and my car might be totaled. I don't know.
So it was kind of bad.
I wasn't. Yeah, kind of, but it
Well,
wasn't really.
if
The
cars
speed was not bad.
right, but things get messed up at going
I
pretty
don't
slow.
I don't know that I can safely and legally drive my car right now.
Okay, well that.
Anyway, my dad called me and he was like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" I was like, "Well, I just got in a wreck." And he goes, "What? You mean like a car accident?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." He goes, "What happened?" I was like, "Well, I rear-ended somebody and it's not a big deal." He's like, all right, well, handle it and call me back." And I called him back after I got done with all the insurance exchange and everything. And he's like, "Man, you are so calm." And I was like, "Yeah, because it's not the end of the world, man. I got full coverage insurance." Which is actually crazy because I just paid my car off. And you would think most people that pay their car off, they go get liability, right?
Right.
No, I kept my full coverage because I live in Garland, Texas. Dallas is the worst place to drive right now.
I'm all about that. My dad was he instilled the full coverage in me for a lifetime.
Well, it's important. I think it's a good thing to have. And anyway, like afterwards, man, I'm so calm. Like used to, I would freak out about like what's going to happen. My insurance rate's going to go up. Am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get a strike on my license? Whatever may happen, I would freak out. I was a pessimist. I used to be a pessimist, really bad. And I was so calm. Like I was happy. I'm fine. Like I was so cool about it. And I drove home completely fine. I was like, well, I'm going to go home and get ready, take a shower, and I'm going to go talk to Basil, you know? And my dad was like, "Man, that was you're cool, man. Thank you so much for being calm and collected." Because most dads would be like, my son just got in an accident. He's freaking out. I'm going to freak out now because I need to help him. And my dad's like, "Man, you're good. All right. I'll talk to you later."
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought him up because that was going to be my next question is what's the deal with your dad? And that's a wonderful intro story. Sounds like a pretty cool dude.
My dad is one of the world's nicest dudes, man. He is literally hands down, like he wouldn't harm a fly. He'll do whatever he can to help you out. He laughs, jokes, has a good time. My dad is amazing, and he's a good, solid Christian. And man, he's the one that taught me how to play guitar. So
there you go. He's the one who ruined you.
Yeah, exactly.
JK, Dad.
Well, he's the one that still plays in a band every other weekend or so.
He's in a cool. They do. What kind of music does he play?
Well, they do the cover band stuff. He's in a classic rock.
He's a working musician.
He's a working man.
There you go.
He makes some money when they play. But
hey, I'm always proud of people who are doing that. I actually some of the people in our worship band at church do that, and I'm always surprised. I'm like, dang, man, I need to get in on that business because A, that's fun, and B, you're actually making some money. That's awesome.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's not his job, but he does it for fun because he's always been a musician. He loves the music and he plays. And the thing about that is, and I'm gonna segue into something real quick.
Do it.
There's a song by a rapper. I don't know if you know of him. Maybe some of your listeners do. His name is Andy Mineo. He's one of my favorite musicians right now, or lyricist. His lyrics, man. He won't call himself a Christian rapper. He's a rapper who is a Christian. Okay,
there you go.
His lyrics, man, are some of the hands down most truthful things I've ever seen come out of the music industry.
What's his name? How do you spell that?
Andy, like Andy.
Yeah.
Mineo, it's Mineo.
Okay, sounds good. I will hit him up for that advertising check, but also
sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Buzz marketing, baby. But yeah, no, I'll check him out.
That's cool. He's got his deal. I actually tried to reach out to him because I wanted him to start a live band and I could play in it. But no, so he's got a song called Wild Things, okay? And it talks about going to the jungle and being where the wild things are.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and there's two ways to look at this. A lot of people would say, no, you cannot surround yourself with that and be a Christian. And then other people would say, man, you are not strong enough to be in the wild. Because in his song, he talks about being strong enough to be in the wild and not partake with the with all the sin that goes on in the wild. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, we all have sin. None of us. If anybody ever comes to me and says they don't have a sin, then I'm not gonna laugh at them, but I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna really start digging into what they do. You know.
Sure. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on them.
dude, hands down, the heaviest lyric I think I've ever heard in this song. It says, after a really cool line, he says, "Let the gospel off the leash and go and be where the beast is."
Ooh, dang.
Oh, how
That's
heavy is that?
that's some. I like to imagine, how we have the old traditional hymns and stuff going on, and they've kind of made a resurgence in popularity. I just imagine like in 100 years they're going to be singing that song like gospel style in churches.
Dude, yeah, I agree with you. I hope
And just
that's the
treating it
case.
as like an old holy song, because
Well,
that's some real holy stuff right there.
what so all right, so check out the rest of his stuff because everything he does is amazing.
Okay.
But what I'm actually trying to do with my music ventures right now is break those chains of those chains of contemporary Christian stuff. So I got into not an argument at all. I don't argue with people. Somebody told me the other day, because I went to a metal show about 3 or 4 months ago. It was a Christian metal show. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of my friends on Facebook said, "I can't go to that stuff. I can't listen. I can't sit there and listen to metal and hear somebody preach at me." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And he goes, how can you call yourself a Christian and listen to metal? Metal is hate. And I'm like, or no, he said metal is anger. And he goes, anger is not Christian. And I was like, hold on. Well, first of all, why not? Everybody experiences anger. We all have anger.
Right.
Jesus
got angry all the time.
Well, he did, and I told him about the flipping of the money tables, which this guy has has no knowledge of anything like biblical. So I had to tell him, I was like, "Hey, man, Jesus flipped the money tables. He didn't hurt anybody, but he was mad."
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was getting mad all the time, telling the Pharisees where to go, what to do.
All right. So I'm trying to break my goal right now is to break the chains of Christian music has to be happy and peaceful and whatever it is. I'm going to tell you right now, and hopefully nobody hates me for this. I can't stand like contemporary Christian music. I just don't like the style. Okay,
you're not the only one in that boat.
Has nothing to do with the lyrics.
Yeah,
but if you listen to like that guy I was telling you about, Andy Mineo, and some metal bands, there's some metal bands that are like heavy, screaming in your face. You look at their lyrics, dude. It is some heavy lyrics. Stuff that like makes me like get chills and tear up sometimes. I'm listening to metal and crying. it's not usually
like a
that.
Real man.
Yes. So my thing right now is I'm trying to appeal to people's musical taste. Like I want, not trying to appeal. I just want to do what I do, but I'm making music that I think that most people would enjoy, and I'm just throwing my lyrics in there. They're not in your face like praise Jesus lyrics, but they're vague.
Yeah, well, the gospel comes in all sorts of forms.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm doing right now.
So you're writing and you're producing music as we speak.
Well,
or
not as we speak.
Dabbling.
I couldn't do that because I got to focus on either music or talking. But
well, you can just put a beat under this conversation. It'll be dope.
I probably could.
So what kind of music are you doing? Like that's awesome. We should tell some people about it.
Well, no, I'm not about to drop. I'm not even ready for anybody to hear anything I'm doing.
Okay.
But I'm trying to melt everything together. I love reggae. I love rock. I love rap. I love country. I love blues. I love it all. And what I'm writing nowadays has a little bit of everything in it. And one song might be completely different from the next one as far as style goes. So I have no style. I have no goals as far as like what I want to sound like. Right. I just do what I do, and that's hopefully maybe somebody will hear what I have to say. And I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, well, that's awesome, man. You gotta, keep me posted on that stuff when you start getting places.
I do.
Send me some tracks. I'll listen.
Yeah, we can exchange some tracks. Maybe we could do some collaboration, man.
Hey, I'm not against it. I've got I was gonna say I've got a whole Patreon that needs a bunch of bonus material.
Hey, man.
That's all I'm thinking about now. But
no, dude. You know what? Honestly, I'm actually I've been thinking the last few days since I signed up and became a supporter. I've been trying to think of ways to I don't want to just straight up share Patreon and
Yeah.
links and stuff. I'm trying to think of ways to really get people to get on board.
Yeah.
So that I actually am, man. I believe in what you do and you and Gons together. Both of you guys. Whatever y'all are doing, man, I want y'all guys to succeed, and I want y'all to do it full time. And I believe that the people need to hear it. Even my Christian friends, like I haven't even brought it up to them yet. Like they're not ready for it.
Yeah.
I bought The Principle, the documentary.
Yep.
I bought that, and I tried to show like one of my very few, very close musician Christian friends the documentary. And he wasn't like, no, I can't watch this. He's just like, this is a lot of information right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Continue.
No. That was it. I mean,
yeah. Well, again, thank you very much. And I feel firmly someday God will open up the doors to be able to do this full time, I think. I was just having a conversation with somebody who will be listening to this episode, and, I was talking to them, and, the question came up like, well, what actually motivates you? And the only thing I could say is doing these shows, doing this show, doing Canary Cry, doing Canary Cry News Talk. I mean, it's really the only thing in my life that motivates me at this point.
Well, the news talks are great, man, because you know what? So like I listen to other Christian news stations or programming or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They have a very solid opinion of what it is and what's going down. And they tell you how it is, Well, for me, for like what you guys do with Canary Cry is y'all just present what's out there, and then you say what you think about it, and you don't tell us that's how it is.
Yeah.
You just say I think this, or y'all make jokes. It's fun. You guys are fun, man.
Well, I appreciate
it's good
that.
to listen to, man. It's not like doom and gloom. Yeah, you might be talking about a sad story, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah, no, totally. I do appreciate that. We never, even when starting the thing, we had a lot of people ask us to start a news show, which is definitely a seed of what made us end up doing it. But yeah, part of the reason we resisted it for so long was, it's almost built in that like if you do a news show, you got to tell people what to think. That's what news is. And we just felt just nowhere qualified to tell people what to think. But what we really enjoy doing is exploring, and I'd like to
possibilities and ideas and stuff. And
like
you open people up. Man, you guys have done a lot. You and Gons both have done a lot for me, and to be where I am today. And man, I am so happy that we got to talk and hang out tonight. And by the way, I'm not like trying to get off. I'm here. So
no, it's all good. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. And let's see here. Yeah, we're coming up. We still got some time. We're good, man. We still got to talk about pets and juicing.
Oh, dude.
It's when we start talking about that stuff, that's when we start getting towards the end, but that's okay.
There we go.
So, dude, I gotta say, health has been a real thing for you in your life, it seems like. I mean, and I've talked to a couple other people in past episodes who have, just chronic diseases and things like this. And I feel very blessed and thankful that I haven't experienced that. But that's rough, man. What's that like? Were you born? Was it the born with diabetes or?
No, man. And you're hitting on a heavy subject right now, and I'm gonna lay it on you. Okay.
All right.
I was diagnosed when I was a sophomore, so I guess I was 14 or 15 years old.
Yeah.
So that was, and I'm about to be 30 next month. So, I've had it for about 15 years, I guess, 15, 16 years. And, the first couple years, maybe 3 years, I was really, really good. I was really on top of it. I did really well as far as watching my sugar, like testing, making sure my levels were good.
Because it's kind of a full-time job, isn't it?
It's very much a full-time job. And, sadly, today, now, I kind of, I think one of my biggest downfalls is I'm not very good to myself as far as health goes. And that's what's my last hospital. Dude, I got an ICU 2 weeks ago. My last diabetic ketoacidosis moment was 2 weeks ago.
That's recent, man.
Yeah, it's very recent. My veins are still very sore from all the IVs that I had in me. Man, and this is all on me. I have nobody to blame. Nobody to blame. You know, my mom, actually the strongest person I know in Christ, my mother, she called me the day I was checking out, because I checked myself out of ICU. She called me when I was checking out, and she could hear my voice. It wasn't normal. And she's like, "What's wrong? Are you sick?" And I was like, "Well, honestly, I'm checking out of ICU." And she got really upset because I didn't tell her. But honestly, when I'm going in and the whole entire time I was there, I just couldn't focus on anything. I mean, I was literally crying out to God to have it stop. And she told me, like, she called me the next couple of days, and she was still really emotional about it. And she told me that she got mad at God. And she's like, "Well, sometimes I get mad. I feel bad saying this, and I get mad sometimes. I just can't believe, God did this." And I was like, hold on, mother. God did not do this. This was, if it wasn't my own doing, it was the sins of my fathers. Right. Whatever. So this was not God's choosing. God does not punish. And this is my opinion. I might say a lot of things that maybe not biblical, or maybe most of the church wouldn't agree with me. God does not punish. Yeah. Anything that we experience in the negative, it's something we did. It's something we chose as a person or as a people. When somebody says, "Well, if God's real, then why would he let somebody be born this way?" He didn't do that. It's on us. Yeah. That's free will. He gives us free will, and we made those mistakes that caused that issue. But he performs miracles and gets us out of some situations, Yeah. But my health, man, I've been trying to turn a new leaf for a long time, and it's a really hard cycle to break.
Yeah, certainly. What is it that causes these episodes?
Well, okay, so these DKA episodes, there have only been 3 severe times, and then 1 mild one that it was questionable. But the first couple times was food poisoning. It set me off.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
This last time, this most recent time where this got out, it was purely my fault. It was purely my lack of attention to my condition and my lack of trying to stay on top of what I need to be doing. Exercise is very important for diabetics, and that's not like you don't gotta have like a workout routine where you go to the gym 3 days, 4 or 5 days a week, whatever it may be. Get your heart pumping for like 30 minutes a day, and that's it. But I can't even bring myself to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, I get you, man.
I work for 10 hours a day, and then I come home and I eat, I take a shower, and then I just want to sit down and maybe game for an hour or two and then go to bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why can't I squeeze in 30 minutes of good exercise? Why can't I go to the grocery store and buy good food and make good meals instead of like eating out all the time, or eating really crappy fast food or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Why can't I check my sugar on a normal, I should be checking my sugar all the time to know where I'm at. I don't know where I am half the time. That being said, man, I think with the enemy, where the enemy is, and suppressing whatever technology is out there, and the whole we don't want you to do better thing on. They have these things called constant glucose monitors that you hook up, you put on yourself.
That's the little box thing that some of my diabetic device. Friends have.
Yes. Well, some of them. Oh, so there's a pump that injects insulin all the time.
Okay.
And that's been around for a little while, but something that's fairly new is called the CGM. I don't need the pump where it constantly gives me insulin. If I had this thing called the CGM, the constant glucose monitor, I could sync it up with my phone, or if I had a smartwatch or whatever it may be, and know exactly where my sugar is and where it's going. And if it goes up, I know what caused it because I can see it's the graph.
Right.
Right now, if I want to know what my sugar's at, I got to stop what I'm doing, pull out my tester, put it in a test strip, prick my finger, put it in the test strip, wait for it to monitor, and then tell me what my sugar is, and then put it all up and then go back to what I was doing. That doesn't sound like much. It may take 30 seconds.
Right.
But to stop what I'm doing, either at work or at home, it's annoying. And it's stupid.
Well,
it's really stupid.
It's a real discipline too. I mean,
it very much is. And I have nobody to blame but myself for my health condition.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest struggle right now, is trying to treat my body as a vessel for serving, the kingdom and Jesus and whatever it may be. And I think that's my biggest downfall right now, and something that I got to work on more than anything.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I know a lot of times I talk about health stuff and working out and all that kind of stuff in this show, just because obviously there's a lot of evidence to say that adds to the quality of life quite a bit across the board. But it's not that easy, and especially when you're a young person. And again, I don't know. I just met you, but as young people, we generally tend to think we got some time to work on stuff like that.
And it's funny you say that, because my dad is a diabetic as well. Okay. Type 1. He's the only one in my family is a diabetic. So it's just me and my dad and nobody else I know of.
Right.
Growing up, I watched my dad eat really bad food and, drink beer and do whatever he wanted to do and not really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
My dad is, he's like 50, I feel bad for saying this. I don't really pay attention to age too much. It's just nothing but a number, but he's like 50, maybe 4 or 5.
Well,
I don't really know.
That's pretty young for having a 30-year-old son.
He's still doing really well, and he's really happy, and he's doing well. So I grow up watching, him not really focus too much on, and oh man, I hope he doesn't listen to this and think I'm blaming. I'm not blaming you, Dad, if you're listening. I promise. This is all on me. But I grow up and see him like, my dad's, I'm fine, I'm
Right.
good. I got this. Where my dad has not been to the hospital for diabetic ketoacidosis, where I've been now like 3 times.
Wow. Now has he changed that, or is he still, living loosey goosey there, Daddy?
He's pretty loosey goosey, but after my last experience a few weeks ago, we've both been really trying to do better.
Yeah.
As far as so one of my things is I try to do everything at once. I try to drop my bad habits and pick up good habits all at once, and it doesn't. I'm realizing it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
It's steps, man. It's steps. So. Right now, our step is making sure we know where our sugar is. So me and my dad are both checking our sugars. We're staying on top of it, and I'm trying to keep my sugar within a decent range to where I'm not causing damage to my body. Because as a diabetic, when your sugar reaches, or anybody, it doesn't matter, when your sugar reaches above a certain point, you're doing damage to yourself. Like
right.
your entire your body becomes poisoned.
Yes.
And it causes damage to every part of your body. Anything it touches.
It's so true, man. It's so true. And I feel like that's a concept that just a lot of people don't realize. And it is the same. That's how it is for everybody.
Yeah. You don't have to be a diabetic. Your body gets poisoned.
Yeah. Wow. But that's kind of cool. You guys are doing it together. You're like
kind
of doing a little improvement club.
If you thought about it as maybe 2 Christians holding each other accountable, you think that me and my dad, as 2 diabetics, would try to hold each other accountable. He tries to hold me accountable, and I try to hold him accountable. We're both so stubborn that it's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, quit asking me.
I'm really not. I think that's a big thing. Like in the Christian, I say just in maybe in churches or whatever. Like. Nobody wants to put their issues out in public.
Right. That's so
true. I actually have no hesitation to tell you what's wrong with me and my issues and where I need to work on, what I need to work on in my life. Because I'm not ashamed of it. I know that my problems are not going to send me to hell. Yeah.
That's a good. There you go, right there. That's some good word there, brother.
I mean, this is truth, and I think. And I might be calling some people out right now, but I'll tell you something right now. My mom, she questions my brother. I love him to death. My mom's other son. He's my half brother.
Right.
He's 19 years old, and he is one of the sweetest children. I think I sent you the story about that. We could talk about that on another time or whatever.
Yeah, we can talk about it now.
Anyway, he's gay, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a Christian. He believes in God and he believes in Jesus as a savior. My mother worries about his salvation. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, okay, do you think that because he's gay that he's condemned to hell, even though he believes in Jesus? What about your alcohol problems, or what about our addictions to nicotine, or whatever it may be? Like, do you think because being gay is worse than being an alcoholic, or whatever it may be?
You bring up a great point. I mean, and this, now we're getting into the real sketchy territory. But
dude, I will break some chains tonight if you want to.
But no, you make a great point, and that is, when you hear the word, homosexual or gay person or lesbian or LGBTQ or whatever it is, I gotta remember.
The new alphabet. I don't even remember that.
I know. I think they added an A on the end, actually.
Oh my God.
For realsies. But whenever you hear that kind of stuff, I mean, a lot of times I would say in the public square of the American church or the social church or however you want to say it. Maybe not the real deep, real deal, but in the church buildings, when you hear any of those words, any of those trigger words, I mean, they're automatically synonymous with going to hell. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, yeah, of course, there's conversations to be had, with anybody in sin doing anything. But to say that somebody exclusively because they're homosexual is going to hell, even if they know Jesus and, are on board, it's just silly. It's just silly, and it's just doctrinally illogical. That's
it doesn't make
more
sense.
than anything.
It doesn't make sense because in my mind, and you might be able to prove me wrong, or maybe you agree with me, and maybe a lot of your listeners won't agree with me. Whatever. In my mind, nothing condemns you to hell unless you don't believe in Christ. So, like, the only thing that's going to the only thing that's going to stop you from meeting our Creator is not believing in our Creator.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. I'd find it hard to argue with that.
So, yeah, we're going to all mess up. Dude, you talk about somebody living in sin. We all live in sin. We all sin. You're not going to stop sinning. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. There's nobody on this planet that's going to stop sinning.
Right.
Even the best people are going to sin some way or another.
Well,
something that is not godly.
Yeah.
Something that's not godly, we're all going to do till the day we die. I think.
Yeah, and not even mentioning things like greed or lusting after someone. I mean, you drive down the 405 in LA and there's just lust material all over you, just on billboards. And it's, and yeah, of course we want to train ourselves to turn from things like that and to have our hearts set right. But, things are going to sneak in, faux show.
I mean, it happens, man.
I mean, and I'm just trying to be in the most gentle of terms. Obviously, we all have bigger problems.
Dude, I'm not even going to be gentle. I'm sorry. I'm done with hiding. I'm done with hiding problems. I went to a men's retreat recently, like I told you about earlier, a men's retreat with a friend of mine in his church, and they had a guest speaker from one of the Dallas seminary schools, and I ended up every lunch and dinner. I ended up sitting with the pastor and the guest speaker, and I tried to get in conversation with him because, like I said, I'm not there to I don't want somebody to tell me. I'm not there to listen to somebody tell me how to live and what I'm doing wrong or whatever it may be.
Right.
I wanted to engage in conversation with these gentlemen, and we did. I loved every person I met that night. It was a great fellowship weekend, as a matter of fact. But I engaged in conversation with these guys, and I feel like I made their jaws drop because of some of the things that I said. They didn't really have a response to. It was, the whole, the homosexual topic, just other things that are just breaking the chains of what people are used to hearing from the Christian community as far as, how we should be and what we should be thinking and how we should be doing things. In my opinion, there's one thing that happened. There was the law, and then Jesus shows up and he destroys it. He destroys the law. He destroys all religion and all rules. He says there is no more religion, no more rules. The only thing you need to do is believe in me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You believe in me, and you really, if you really believe in Jesus and what he said, then you're gonna try to do what he did, because that's the best way to live. I mean, how is that not the best way to live?
Right.
So if you believe in that, then we're all gonna slip up, man. I mean, I slip up every day. I think we all do. But you're not condemned. You're not done. I mean, you're not gonna go to hell for having a lustful thought or having a beer or smoke or not having a beer, getting drunk. Okay.
There you go.
Get drunk.
Letting it off the leash.
getting drunk, you're not going to go to hell because you got drunk. Okay, you're not going to go to hell because you whatever. I'm going to start saying things that you might not want to put on your show. But
we get the point.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. All right, man. What's next?
No. I was saying in the listing of things, the listing of extremities of sin, we got it. Yeah. No, but you make a great point, and we were talking about your brother there. So if there's, I don't want to get off track if there's more to that. But yeah, no, you make a great point, and it is a fine line. It is a fine line. I would say, especially if I'm being honest, when it comes to putting out shows and broadcasting and stuff like that, because, that's out there forever, and then people just pull it apart. I don't know if you've ever searched Basil Rosewater debunked or exposed, but it's there. There's not as much as Gon's, but I've lucky.
Never watched them.
I've been lucky not to get it as much as Gon's does, but it's out there.
But I think I'm gonna look those up tomorrow just because I'm curious.
Some of them are hilarious. I purposefully don't look at them. Gon's once in a while will send one to me. He's like, "Oh, you got one?" I'm like, "Oh, great," but I don't really listen to it. But the one of them I listened to, and I was just listening to it, and this is the God's honest truth. I'm not saying this just to deflect, but it was the most hilarious thing I had ever heard. Because it kind of woke me up a little bit to this trend of like, such and such exposed or such and such debunked.
Dude, what you're doing, you're going to make more enemies, man.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And it's always the religious people. It's always super religious people. There's never been an atheist who's like, this Basil guy's got it all wrong. It's always people who, have mostly they just don't like it that I have so much fun on the air. They literally will talk about how I'm deceived because I'll make a joke about something, which is
like buttholes. Yeah, you've gone to the bonus content.
Yeah, don't give away the bonus.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Oh wait, maybe that'll get some Patreon supporters.
That's true. You can hear me.
Oh, what a tease.
Buttholes.
Oh my God, no! Don't say it again. We have to get the FCC here.
I actually, well, and to give you a little bit of a look behind the curtain, and apparently all the listeners a little look behind the curtain here. I said that, and I said that word, which is not a bad word. It's just kind of like a weird word to say. Yeah. But I thought like, oh no, I can't. I gotta cut this out. I gotta cut that out. But then I'm like, what the heck? Like, it's so, I don't know. It's just it's a weird line. I feel like I have to walk sometimes.
Hey man, and we're trying to break some chains, right?
We're breaking chains. If you want to hear a real broken chain, you can go ahead and subscribe to Patreon, The Joy Spiracy Theory, and listen to the bonus episode.
I don't want people to think, what I think. I told you, I think in a Facebook message that I've had a lot of people. I'll say a lot. I haven't had that many people I've been like talking to and listening, like hearing me talk about God.
Sure.
People, non-believers, okay, and they see me talk about my faults and the things I've been through and the things I still continue to go through. And I'm telling them about them all with a beer in my hand, and then I'm crying about Jesus. Okay, I think that's more impactful than saying I have this perfect happy life and I live this like I'm just a good person and I don't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
they don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
That's true. I mean, it's a great point.
It makes absolutely true. I think it opens them up to be like, okay, well, I'm not too far gone, and that's the problem. Nobody's ever too far gone. I'm sure you've heard of I don't want to name drop.
You can go ahead and name drop.
All right, Daniel Duvall. You know him?
Yep, he's a good friend of the show.
Cool, man. I love his stuff. He's had some people on his show, and I don't remember the name of this guy, but he was a leader in like the Church of Satan or something like that.
Ooh.
Well, so that right there, if you have to look it up. I wish I remembered his name and what episode it was. That goes to show you're never too far gone. This guy was a leader in like the Church of Satan somewhere. And dude, he had a road to Damascus experience, dude. He had Jesus like appear before him. And now he is like a gun ho, like he's on fire,
Yeah. That's
How
awesome.
do you have like that transition? Like some people be like, oh, he's going. There's no redeeming that guy. No,
Right.
you're completely wrong. Everybody can be redeemed.
Yeah, and
Every.
it's sadly a lot of times, and obviously nobody who listens to this show, everybody here is very on the level, but there are times out there, and as much as we like to think that it doesn't happen anymore, it really does, where we start to view our Christianity or a relationship with Jesus as like a club, and if you're in the club, then you're in the club, and if you're out of the club, you can't be in the club. I mean,
Dude, Jesus leaves the club to go get the people that are in the
he's
club.
like, I don't trust any club that would allow me as a member,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
just bails.
It's I mean, I think it's really great. Like I said, man, I think I'm new to this whole thing, man. As far as to testifying to people and talking about God and the Bible and my faith, because I I was a conspiracy theorist. I still am a theorist, quote unquote.
We like to
Uh,
say analyst,
Analyst. Okay, that makes
conspiracy
sense.
analyst.
I like it.
It'll get you
Um,
on a lot less blacklists.
so when you don't really know Jesus, man, Christianity looks bad.
Yeah.
Like especially with the mainstream media, it looks really
Oh
bad.
yeah. No. It's
Um,
it's something that I'm always surprised that Christians uh, don't realize when they are playing into, a lot of times unnecessarily, not even in the good way, but unnecessarily playing into sort of this mainstream um, view of Christianity, when just of the mainstream culture, and with and I think it's beneficial, and it doesn't have to be a compromise or something like that, but it's beneficial to be aware of those triggers that a lot of people have against Christianity, and to avoid that, because a lot of, like, for instance, speaking Christianese when you don't have to is a big
yes,
one.
exactly,
It's
exactly.
like that's one of the biggest things to make fun of in the church, and I agree is hilarious. Just like working in Christianese to every other word of every sentence, even if you're at the DMV. I'm like, I get it, I get it.
Mm.
Like, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, be aware of how it's affecting people, and they're especially if you're at the DMV speaking Christianese, and then you freak out because the line is so long. That's not good.
I agree, man, and I think that I think the problem, the people that don't like Christianity, my biggest thing lately has been like talking to people like that aren't Christians, that come out to hang out with us and talk. I'm like, okay, if the conversation either dies out wherever way it goes, I'm like, okay, so what do you think about, like, why do you what do you not like about Christians, or what do you disagree with in the Bible? And so far, praise God, because I don't know that much. Like, I'm not that biblically knowledgeable. Um, so far, I've had an answer for everything that's been brought up.
Wow.
Uh, and because the thing is, people don't know. They just don't know what really is. It's dude, the ultimate deceiver runs it all. So like, he's
Yep.
deceiving, that is ultimate deception, whatever. The cat and the alien and the cat
Oh
picture
my
I
gosh,
posted.
that was so good. I'm gonna repost that.
Please do.
I can't believe I haven't done it. I meant to do it earlier today.
I stole that from Reddit, by the way.
Oh, of
I didn't
course.
draw that or nothing.
Everything comes from Reddit.
Right.
That's where every thought on the internet comes from
Hey,
Reddit.
it's the front page of the internet.
Yeah, there you go. Well, speaking of cats and aliens inside cats, do you
Yes.
have any pets?
All right.
just, just taking a deep breath.
So, all right. So like I said, I just kind of just recently moved in with my girlfriend.
Okay.
Right beforehand, I lived with my grandfather, and before I lived there years ago, my aunt lived there, and she was the crazy cat lady.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so she fed all the stray cats. So I'm not kidding you when I say that this block, this house, this little piece of property on the corner of like a major road and like a side road, there were probably at any time 3 to 4 cats, different cats, all the time.
Just
Cats everywhere.
vagabond cats.
Well, because my aunt always put out food for them. So when my aunt left, my grandfather kept the tradition going and just left food out.
It was just
all
a
the time.
family legacy at that point.
Leaves giant bowls of dry food. He puts out little plates of wet food. He puts out water. So there is a buffet for all the strays right now.
Man.
So the one cat, and I will not say I have a cat. I don't think you can say you have a cat because I don't think we have cats.
Nobody has a cat.
I think the cats have us. But besides my most recent pet, this cat, this stray over here at my grandpa's house, we called her Wolverine because they named her Wolverine before we knew what she was. She's about 15 years old now. She's blind in one eye, missing like half an ear. One of the most raggedy looking alley cats you've ever seen. She runs the joint because when she's there, you won't see any of the other cats.
That is so funny.
But like when I would go to work, I'd walk outside a little bit early and sit on the porch, and her little awesome self would just jump up in my lap and start making biscuits on my legs.
Aww.
It was the sweetest thing ever, man. And I'm not, honestly, up until a few years ago, I haven't really been a cat fan because of that whole attitude they got.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I started meeting really cool cats. So as long as the cat's cool, I'm cool. I love cats. So that's not my cat. That's not my cat. I've known that cat. Right now, I have adopted a dog.
Okay.
It's my girlfriend's dog. I love him more than any pet I think I've ever owned or had. He's got the biggest personality I've ever met.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture of him. He's a goofy little guy.
Goofiest of the goofy, man. He is the biggest nerd in the world. He's a part lab. I think Dalmatian. I don't think they know the other half of him or whatever breed is in him. He's the sweetest thing I think I've ever met. That being said, if you walk into our house unannounced and he doesn't know you, he might murder you. But give him about 10 seconds, and he'll warm up as long as he knows you're not a threat. Dude, this guy wakes me up in the morning when my alarm goes off for work and I hit snooze. I hit snooze again, and then I'm at the point where I can't hit snooze again, or I'm going to be late to work.
Yeah.
He's now all of a sudden, he's like, dude, get up. He's like literally trying to dig his head underneath mine and pull me off the pillow. And
dude, I think pets know, man. I gotta say, yeah. What was your dog's name?
His name is Ozzy.
Ozzy.
Yeah, he's I don't know if I can call it. Can I call him my dog?
Yeah. As far as the government's concerned, I think he's your dog.
I think if my girlfriend doesn't listen to this, I'll call him my dog.
Oh,
but
I see.
I think he loves me more than her.
Yeah, well, I don't want to start a family feud here on the show. But yeah, no, that's funny about the alarm though, because when my alarm starts going off, I think it's just because my cats hate it, like hate the sound of the alarm, and they know that I, their lord and ruler, I'm the only one who can turn off the alarm. They will just, it's really interesting. They'll just stand on me and yell as loud as they can.
Oh my
so
goodness.
not only do I wake up to a horrific alarm sound, which I need on purpose to wake up, but just two screaming cats just standing on me. They don't claw, they don't attack, because I know a lot of people has that experience, but no, they just yell in the most shrieking, meowing cat disturbance I can imagine.
And it's not because they want food or attention.
No,
it's just
I think they just hate the alarm. I think they're just telling me to turn off the alarm.
Oh my gosh.
'Cause as soon as I turn off the alarm, they're like, finally, dummy.
Right on, man.
All right, well, good. So that's it. Just Ozzy.
Just Ozzy, man. That's all I got right now. And I haven't really had a pet that I don't know. It's hard for me to say I have a pet, man. I look at it now. And I look at animals, and especially Ozzy. They're not just like something you have. It's not just like something you own.
Yeah, it's an animal.
It's an animal, man. Yes, he's part of the family. Absolutely. I'm not afraid to share the fact that I, due to health conditions, I can't have kids. My mother hates that because not only can I not have kids, my brother's gay, so she's not gonna have grandbabies.
Oh no!
So I look at Ozzy like a child almost. I don't know. It's just compassion for everything. I mean, it's not necessarily just that dog.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there, and I think that's a great point to make in a moment like this. Because I did. If there's one thing that I can pull from this interview, is I get a real sense of compassion from you, and getting a real sense of compassion for animals is that's good. I think that's a good way to look at it without having to get too hippy-dippy about how can you own an animal, man.
Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't stop at animals. I mean, it's compassion for everything. It's compassion for people. It's compassion for animals. It's compassion for this planet.
Right.
It's compassion just for, I mean, just everything that goes on. Like if you want the best for everything around you, I mean, that's compassion. Like you want everything to be happy and good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Now I went back hippie on you, but
no, that's hey.
I mean,
that was a somber tone because I think you are correct, and that's really how Jesus was. He just wanted the best for everything and everyone around him.
Absolutely, man. And that's where there we
go.
Yep. There we go.
I think that's beautiful. And I think we're coming to the end of our time for this particular interview.
Yeah, I did not expect 2 hours, by the way. I could go for another 2, but let's
well, I was going to say if you have time, we can go through your mother's story or the
I do have time, and as a matter of fact, I don't know how much time you have, but you didn't read that Reddit link that I sent you, and I would love to share that with you because even more so than my mother's story with my brother, this was actually more impactful to me personally.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to end this wonderful episode, and then we're going to talk about that, and it's going to be on the bonus episode.
Excellent.
All right, Jamey, thank you so much. This was awesome, man. And, I got to say, you might hold the record for the longest official scheduled time before we scheduled and actually did the interview. I usually don't schedule out as far as we did, but it turned out great. And this was, I don't want to say I didn't have very high expectations, but this was better than I could have ever thought. So I really appreciate it, buddy, and really I appreciate what you've brought to this show, but also what you bring to the world is really cool, man. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk.
Thanks, Basil, man. I like I said from the beginning when you asked me, I was grateful for. I am very grateful for you letting me come talk to you. And like I told you in the message, I didn't care if you aired this or not. I just wanted to chat. I really just wanted to talk to you, man.
Well, that's great. I will say we're definitely going to air this. And so why don't you say bye to the listeners, and then let's go talk about something else.
All right, listeners, Joyspiracy Theory, come check it out. Come support the Patreon account, man. Let's make Basil do this for a living.
Oh,
come on.
What a great ending. I'm into that.
Yes.
All right. See you later, everybody. Breaking chains just like he said he would. Thanks a lot, Jamey, for coming on the show. I really hope you guys enjoyed that because I sure did. Just a really interesting perspective. There's another peek into some people in the kingdom who are really on fire and just really awesome and I don't know. I love this show. I love you guys, man. I love you guys. Anyways, if we continue to talk, actually, about that letter from his mother, there's about 30 to 40, 45 minutes bonus material that's going to come out on patreon.com/thejoyspiracy theory. If you are just feeling led and touched by this project that I've been working on, you can go to patreon.com/thejoyspiracy theory and sign up to support the Joyspiracy Theory on a monthly basis. The first reward level is at $5 a month, so that's not too bad, right? It's like a cup of coffee some places, but $5 it's not a latte money to do that. Oh man, that was a good one. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be putting up some additional rewards on the Patreon, so keep an eye out for that. I'm thinking maybe, maybe like a Google Hangout or something at a $10 thing. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But keep an eye out for that. And if you are supporting at that next level, you'll just automatically get access to it. So that's fun. It's like a little surprise gift. Okay, thank you everybody for your ratings and reviews on iTunes. It really helps out. Like I said earlier in the show, at the top of the hour, we got on some lists because of you guys. So thanks so much. It's helping spread the word. Make sure to go to facebook.com/thejoyspiracy theory and like the page, and you'll get all sorts of fun stuff there. Hey, this is something we haven't done in a while. If you go to thejoyspiracytheory.com, there's a little tab on the side, and you can leave me a voice message. Now, in the past, I've been having a real hard time figuring out just a nice, catchy catchphrase for the end of the episode. So if you want to help me figure one out, you can go leave me a voice message. We'll play it on the show. It'll be awesome. And also, you can join the what are we calling it? I forget. But you can join our little prayer community on thejoyspiracytheory.com. So go do that. All right. But make sure to tune in next week for another episode. But until then, keep your snowmen in the freezer